Thank you for joining us, everyone. You are listening to Conscious Contact Radio. Myself, Reymond Colson, and Scott Mendoza. And just to give you a little background on who I am a licensed ordained minister as well as a Reiki master. And we have my good friend here, Scott Mendoza. Would you like to say hi, Scott?
Greetings, everybody. I love you all individually and collectively. I love you with all my heart, soul, being, everything I have to give. Give you a little backstory on myself. I have recently, in a sense, kind of created a YouTube channel. I've made several videos on all kinds of different ideas of life and life reflections and so forth. And if you would like to reach some of my material, you can reach me on YouTube at Scott Mendoza. Just type my name in, SCOTTMENDOZA, and bring into the close of 2015 on a strong note. And 2016 bears a whole lot of fruits of labor. So I'm here to blast my love from the top of my skull to everybody who desires it.
Yes, definitely. Me and Scott are definitely discovering more and more of who we truly are as we follow our passion and excitement. And we are very excited to share our experience with everyone and anyone, willing to co-create with us. So we appreciate all of you for listening in, and we'll go ahead and get into the show. Today we're going to be talking about compassionate action and what that is and what we can do to really express that on all levels of our being, and different tools and techniques that Scott and I use on a daily basis whenever, we're trying to utilize compassionate action or just be in that mode. So, Scott, do you want to start off? Or?
Sure, absolutely. Compassionate action, what is compassionate action and why do we need it, essentially? Mm-hmm. And I would say that, based off the fact that we are here and now, based off the fact that a lot of things are coming to the surface, a lot of ideas are being funneled down into this compressed idea. What I mean is when a lot of folks get older, they get more intelligent. Become more intelligent, they get more, they're awake. They start to realize that certain things are a little bit different than they're told initially when they're a child. Mm-hmm. And now that a lot of individuals, this wave of awakening is happening, so is a wave of negativity. Because life is always as above, so below. It's always that way. It's that polarity. It's that Trinity perspective. And compassionate action actually is the balance of everything. Because when I mean compassionate action, I mean showing love for everything and everyone. I don't necessarily mean showing compassionate action for,
Scott, you there?
Oh.
Hello, you there?
Definitely. Sorry about that. Did it cut out on you?
It's okay. Yep.
Sorry about that. What I mean is like to have compassionate action on everything and all things, not just the positive things, not just the things that make you feel good. Because essentially, compassionate action is showing love and compassion in a very active way in your reality. And I'll start, there's actually 3 keys to having compassionate action. There's 3 steps of compassionate action, if you will. And they're kind of zones of who you are. First of all, the first compassionate step that one should take is show compassion to yourself. Show compassion to who you are. Love yourself wholly. Love yourself for who you are. Don't compartmentalize different aspects of yourself because you're not ready to deal with it. Because if you're not ready to deal with it, still show it compassion. Show it love that you understand that maybe that's something that you're not ready to deal with yet, but you know is there. So the first step is to show compassion to yourself. The next step is to show compassion to the surroundings around you in your community. Show compassion in a way that when you're driving down the street, for instance, you see this guy on the side of the road holding a sign that says, "We'll work for food." Show compassion. Right. And I don't necessarily mean shower that guy or that woman with a lot of money. Just park your vehicle. Go over there and show compassion. Speak with them. A conversation with that individual will go far, will go much further than you think, because a lot of individuals in that level that need compassion can't perceive it. So therefore, they just think life is out to get them. So if you just take that necessary step of consciously showing compassion to your neighbors and to your community, that would definitely propel you to the next step. And the next step is showing compassion and action for your planet, for your solar system, for your entire galaxy. Nothing's left out. Show as much compassion for yourself as you do the stars, for you do, for everything, for your planet, for the grass, for, all things. So the first step is to show compassionate action and love in an active way to yourself. Make it known. Don't necessarily, say it out loud. Have some action about it. Don't just have a thought, because thoughts just stir around. Have some action. That's what this is all about, the compassionate action portion. So you have yourself, you have your compassionate action towards your community, and you have your compassionate action towards your planet. And when you do these things in that way, everything becomes redefined in your life. The negativities become great transformative ideas. They become beautiful ways for you to transform and change and become more of who you are. And see, this is my opinion why compassionate action is key and critical to maintaining who you are, to progressing further of who you are. Because, it's very important to have this compassionate action. Just be conscious, be aware of the loving action you're showing to others.
Yes, I agree. And so compassionate action to me, is really the name of the game. To act on our passion, to act on our excitement, to follow our heart is really what compassionate action is. And like Scott is saying, you're saying, Scott, you want to love yourself, your community, and your planet. So, first of all, you can do that, by just being thankful for what is. That is one of the first ways to show your compassion to anything that I think we're perceiving in our external, third dimension world. So anything pretty much outside of us that we're perceiving outside of us, because nothing really is. But what we perceive to be on the outside, just be thankful that it's there. It's when, like we said before, it's when we invalidate these things that, that really perpetuates them and to something that we don't prefer. So if we're acting out of fear or anxiety and not out of passion and showing what we're truly passionate about, then you're showing action and giving your own energy to the things that you don't prefer, and that is just going to perpetuate them over and over, again and again, until you get the message that really compassion is all about kind of being thankful for everything that we're going through and the experiences that we're going through. And so that's that's kind of for me on a basic level there. And then obviously there's the action. We want to show the action on a physical level from our passion. And really what that means is to like I said, to follow your dreams, follow your desires, to follow your heart and that excitement. And you want to do this when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're acting out of integrity and not, like I said, not out of fear or anxiety, because then you're not helping anyone. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping whoever else it is that you're trying to express, yourself to, and really the action, it can be very simple things. It doesn't have to be like even like you're saying, Scott. I don't think you have to get out of the car and go talk to the guy. Yes, that's great. That is amazing that someone would go and do that. But just saying thank you for being there, and thank you for showing me where I could possibly change a belief, or I can possibly do something to not have to allow others in my reality to quote unquote suffer and stand on the corner, or for whatever reason you're perceiving that in your reality.
Right.
So it's all about coming from the heart, and yes, Scott is very right. You do want to show the action. So like we're saying, show physical action. You want to make, it doesn't have to be anything humongous. You just want to take little steps, and like Scott was saying, you don't have to shower anybody with money. You don't have to go, set up this guy's resume and get him a job, for him, because that's really not going to work. And you're not, obviously, you're not operating out of compassion if you try to pull someone out of their experience, whatever, if they're experiencing fear or separation or something like that, and they're coming to you for help, you don't want to just find the quickest way to get them out of that experience. Maybe they need to go through that for a reason. Maybe
Absolutely.
They're in that experience for something that we're not totally aware of at the time, being from an outside perspective. So
Absolutely.
Compassion is just allowing that person to be who they are, for one, experience what they're going through, being thankful that you are part of the co-creation in the experience, period. And just that's how you show compassion. You want to allow people to feel what they feel and just kind of guide them along. You don't, just like our angels do for us and our guides and so on and so forth. They don't just come down or make us turn a certain way. It's just a guide. It's just a whisper in the ear. This is how you can make yourself feel better. This is how you can let go of whatever pain you're feeling. To me, that's really kind of what acting out of compassion is towards another individual.
Certainly.
So,
yeah.
So, go ahead, Scott.
It struck me when you had touched on the subject of having integrity when you did demonstrate compassionate action, and that was a really good point right there, because in order to demonstrate compassionate action altogether, the only way you can do it is through integrity. The moment you try to do it from some anxious location or anxious place of mind,
right,
it's not going to work. I mean, you're gonna try and express your love to somebody from an anxious perspective, and they're going to look at it like you're trying to step on their toes, or it's going to be perceived as you're trying to take their job, or it's going to be perceived as you're trying to take over what they have. But essentially, the moment that you have that integrity, the moment that you, like I always say, it's all the answers are in your heart. The moment that you just listen to your heart, the integrity comes, in full view, because keeping your intent poised for any compassionate action is very important, because to have that intent to have a compassionate action in the first place almost actually works nearly the same level that the action does, because actions do speak louder than words, but human beings in general are made of light. We are light beings. I've said it before, and I'll definitely say it again. We're made of light, so our thoughts and our actions travel at light speed. So therefore, that's how, like you're talking about, having this thought of compassionate action for this individual. If you have enough intent, you have enough honorable discernment, and integrity in that thought, You won't have to get out of the vehicle, because we are getting to a new age and a new time and a new place and space and time and space in itself. And new, different techniques and ideas are being presented to us. So to have this intention, to have this integrity way to perceive the compassionate action, just the action that is compassionate for those that you're trying to show compassion for, is really what it is. And it's definitely. I'll give you a couple examples. And now, for all the listeners, I love you dearly, and thank you so much for listening in right now and in the future. And I'll give you a couple of examples of how me personally, demonstrate compassionate action. Every single morning when I wake up and I open my eyes, first thing in the morning, before I go to work, before I even get out of bed, I open my eyes and I close them again. But when I close them, I stay awake, of course, and I think to myself. And sometimes I mouth it out. I'm not trying to wake my wife up because she's not awake yet, so I'll kind of do it quietly, and I will literally thank Gaia, thank Mother Earth for supporting me, for being here so it can support the weight of who I am. I thank it in all of its glory. I also take it a step further. For all the individuals, all of my ancestors, and all of my ancestors' ancestors, all aspects of me, in a sense, I thank them for walking the place where I'm at now, before me, for laying the road and laying the bricks of understanding on the sea of misunderstanding to create this bridge that we're going across now, to this ability to take new meanings and attach them to old ideas. Because without the compassionate action and without this transformation, you couldn't do that. It was impossible. Because it brings up another point that I would certainly love to touch on, and that is when you demonstrate compassionate action in whichever manner that is, whether that's to hold the door open, to play the guitar out in the middle of the street, I don't know, whatever. Use your discernment, of course. But do not, I repeat, do not worry about what it looks like. Do not involve your thought processes into what it should be. Do not involve, your judgment to get in the way of, oh, man, I look a little weird and funny when I'm doing this. Who cares? Who cares? Because when anybody judges that anyways, they're just judging themselves. So it's got nothing to do with you in the first place. So just act. Act upon the compassion and the love that you have, because by showing compassionate action and demonstrating it to whoever and whatever, you're literally showing all that is, God, Goddess, whatever you want to call it, you're showing it that you've recognized that you are the love that you came in here with and nothing else. Now, of course, you've experienced other things, but it's been integrated. It's been expanded. It's been put in the drawers. It's been put back in the cupboards. It's been put back to where it needs to go because we've obtained what we need from it. Obviously, because we wouldn't be having this conversation if we didn't.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, so, and let's talk about some different ways that we can practice compassionate action. So Scott just gave an example of being thankful towards Mother Earth and the Father Divine, and just showing that appreciation and that compassion when he wakes up in the morning. So this is definitely one way that people can show compassion. And for me, an example of something I do, we'll take it to the community level for me, and I actually share my Reiki energy healing in a local hospital here in Phoenix, Arizona. And so that is one of the ways that I can say that I show compassion towards my community. Of course, there are many ways, and that, to some people that may be an extreme, but to me, that's definitely following my excitement and allowing me to share some of the gifts that I've realized over the years that I do have. So, there's anything in between that, you can show compassion. So like, for example, as Scott was saying, just being thankful is one way. And I'm saying another way is actually doing some kind of action out in your community is another way. So I just want to stress to people and let you know that it doesn't have to be one or the other, and you can do this in any way that feels best for you. Showing compassionate action can just be looking someone in the eyes. It can be giving a smile to someone, giving a hug, opening the door. There's a number of things you can do to show compassion. And it's all about, like we said earlier in the show, it's all about taking small steps to get here and there. And I want to share a secret, or it's not really a secret anymore, because I know this, and a lot of people are starting to realize this. But a lot of times people ask me, and I'm sure they ask Scott as well, how do you guys always talk about shifting to a more preferred reality? Well, we're telling you guys exactly how to accelerate that process. Of course, we are always shifting into the more preferred reality by simply choosing what we do and don't prefer on a day-to-day basis. But a great tool and technique, and a old secret, quote unquote secret, to help accelerate the shifting to a more preferred reality is actually showing compassionate action. Show some type of expression or action towards yourself and your community, wherever it is you want to see that change. So, for example, before I started volunteering in a hospital doing Reiki energy, this for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that I talk to even today, was almost unheard of, especially in the Western world where we live here in America. So now that I'm doing this, I don't do it that much. I go maybe twice a month when I can, and I do a couple hours a day. But guess what? It's turning my reality. It's totally changing my reality. It's allowing more of this type of quantum energy, this type of Eastern medicine, this kind of unknown that I've never experienced to appear into my reality. And it's all about just noticing that change. So again, here is a tool that you can use to shift to a more preferred reality. If there's something that you're experiencing that you don't really prefer, that you don't like, you just take small steps. Action, showing action, actually doing something physical, expressing something. And you can do this, like we're saying, on all levels, just like Scott pointed out in the beginning of the show. You can do this for yourself. You can do this for the community, and you can do this for the universe. I'm the type of person where I like to, take all these tools and techniques that I'm remembering and learning, and I scramble them all up in a blender, and I add my own little spice here and there, and then I use them all together. And that's really something I enjoy doing, and something the listeners and everyone else will start to see come out in me more and more as you all join us on this journey that we're on. I'm all about taking multiple permission slips, if you will, and doing them all at once. And that is really what allows me to be more of myself. And so that's just a little secret I kind of had some clarification on, and I wanted to share with our listeners, because I always, I'm always hearing, how do I shift to a more preferred reality? How do I shift? And we're always shifting. Me and Scott were talking about this earlier. We're always shifting, but it's about acting even in little ways on that preferred reality that you want. Kind of like me and Scott just first we just talk on Facebook, and then we talk on the phone, and then we get on a radio show together, and now we're opening up to channeling, and all kinds of things are starting to happen, all because we just, we followed that passion. We acted on our passion, and it just little by little, and you follow those breadcrumbs, and you keep acting on those, and your world is just going to open up, and that preferred reality that you were dreaming about, few months ago or a year ago, however long it was, is all of a sudden right there in your face, and it's happening. Absolutely. So that's something I just really wanted to share with our listeners. On the special day, it's our last show of the year. So,
certainly.
Yeah, definitely wanted to get that out there.
I would like to, if I could just, kind of continue that thought just for a second. And, touch on this idea of compassionate action and the correlation with shifting your life from one preferred, experience to the next.
Right.
And like you said, that it's no secret. Our natural thought process is to shift from thought to thought to thought to thought to thought, and literally. We shift billions of times per second, to be honest with you. That's actually what gives us the motion, the movement of life in general.
Right.
But, that's kind of a topic for another deal. But the idea that compassionate action is in tandem to this idea because, when you, in a sense, I will piggyback on a different analogy of following your highest excitement because it's quite similar. It's quite, they have a lot of likeness. And when you follow your highest excitement, you simply look in your surroundings, in your life, in your mind, just in front of you. What could you possibly do that would excite you to the degree that it is plausible, that you're able to do it? I don't mean jumping off a bridge without a parachute. I mean, just look in front of you. What do you have? What could you do that would create excitement in your life? Picking up the phone, calling a friend, grabbing a glass of iced tea, whatever the case is. And in the same regard, you could take that idea and attach it to following your compassionate action. How can I find a compassionate action to act on? And that simply is just look into your reality. Look in front of you. Look and take 1 second. Stop whatever you're doing. Right after you think that thought, stop. Listen to your heart. Because your heart is going to tell you what needs compassionate action first. Because, in a sense, everything needs love. Everything needs compassionate action. But life is all about degrees. What degree do you need to show this compassionate action to this individual? Because you're going to need to show compassionate action on different levels. It's not just, I love you, and that's it. It works. That definitely works. But, we're not all the same. If there was only one way to do things in life, there would only be one person on the planet, period. So being that there's, 7.6 billion people on the planet right now, there's 7.6 billion different ways to do this. So trust your heart, trust your imagination, trust your mind, trust, the feeling you get from it. Because, a while ago, like you said, I've been showing compassionate action for my community and those around me. And I've started to tap into this channeling aspect. I've channeled this entity a couple of times now, and I've even done it on air in a Q&A session. And, I couldn't necessarily do any of this, even talk to you, Raymond, or talk to everybody on the radio if I didn't previously and continuously show compassionate action now. Because it's always now. It's always now. It's always now. Don't look to the past. Well, I did compassionate action yesterday. Who cares about yesterday? I'm not talking about, that you just helped 32 kids, down the street yesterday to you bought an ice cream. Who cares? The fact is, what are you doing now? Right now. It's 6:30 on Tuesday, December 2015. Right now, think to yourself, when the show is over, or even right this moment, what could you possibly do to show some compassion? Like right now, I just pet my dog. Just simple things. And those simple things lead to more things. And then, yes, don't get me wrong, it can get more complex the more and more you stack it onto each other But that's just because you're building the structure up. You're building you up. It's you. You're exposing more of you. And all of us, all humans on the planet, all beings in creation are very dynamic, are very, very mystical. There's so many facets about us that the more that we do things like this, the more that we show compassionate action, the more that we follow what we prefer, the more we shift into the life that we prefer, the more the life is available to perceive, because you cannot perceive really what you're not the part of. You cannot perceive a smile when you're frowning in the mirror. It's impossible. Not even plausible, or not even, it just couldn't happen. So in order to see the compassion in life, you have to be the compassion in life. You have to express that from the center of your being. Spread it out, spill it out, overflow, And at first, the very first portion of it is within yourself, because you cannot get to any other platform. You can't connect any other compassionate action with anybody else in your reality at all if you don't do it to yourself first. And that would be one of the main things I'd like to hit home, is like you have to show compassion and love for yourself. Fall in love with yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in a way that demonstrates you contain this compassion. You show it to yourself, because humans are tricky. Us people are very, very tricky. If we don't show ourselves, we don't know ourselves. It's pretty much that simple. And and the more that we do all this stuff, the more we don't need to show. We just know. It's a state of knowing, because you believe something to be true. You have faith that something's going to happen, and then you know something's going to happen. And, doing this compassionate action leads us to knowing. It puts us in that knowing state, because I love you. I know they love me. And it becomes this symbiotic relationship where everybody has a fork in the fire. Everybody is lifting up the huge weight of the world instead of these 5 people, because, let's just break it down. By the structure of positivity. Positivity is always, always, always collective, connective, unifying, you're bringing things together. And, of course, negativity is always segregating, deunifying. It's separative. It separates. So just know that the second that you show compassionate action, you shine the light of who you are on the darkness, and therefore the darkness gets so confused, they don't know what to do, so it vanishes. It goes to where it needs to go, because immediately when you shine the light on it, you might get a shadow, but that's all it is. It's an illusion. It's just a shadow. Continue that compassionate action. Continue that loving manner towards everything, not just one specific thing because it's your favorite. I mean everything. Show compassion for your car. Show compassion for your boss. Show compassion for, the traffic that's in front of you. Show compassion for everything. And there's a lot of delineation. There's a lot of people in the world that want to just kind of show compassion towards one idea or the other, which is okay. I'm not saying that's bad. What I'm saying is expand more, because there is more. Right.
And I think it's important also on the show to just kind of let's break down compassion a little bit and talk about compassion and empathy are really empowering, and things you do to empower yourself and others. And then you have, on the opposite side, you have pity and sympathy. And those two sometimes can be misconstrued as compassion, but pity and sympathy are very disempowering and like Scott was saying, segregative and the opposite of positive energy, pretty much. So it's important to know compassion is just something that's empowering when you're empowering another person or yourself even, and you don't have to sympathize when someone is going through an experience that they don't prefer, because that's really disempowering them by saying, oh, I feel sorry for you, or you're agreeing from their perspective that whatever outside circumstance they are experiencing is really gotten the better of them, and that's not really the case. So you just want to make sure that you're empowering people when you're being compassionate and not taking their power away or disempowering them by telling them that, by telling them that they should be sorry or feel sorry for whatever it is they're going through. So I think that's really important. Also, like Scott is saying, action and knowing are really synonymous. When you know something, you just do it. You don't think about it first. You just do it. So being compassionate action really is the fact that you're already kind of expressing your compassion to the world and to people. So don't just think about these things. Like we're saying, put little simple things ahead of you and act on those. And I promise you, these things will just snowball into bigger and better things. And you'll start to see more of what you do prefer, rather than saying, oh, I don't really prefer this, and I'm just going to sit here and stare at it and not really putting any of my energy or intentions toward it. Really by dwelling on something and looking at it and telling it that you over and over that you don't prefer it to its face, then that's all you're doing is giving that thing energy. So act on these small things that you do prefer. That is what's key. We're not saying you have to, when we're talking about balancing positive and negative, we're not saying you have to be negative in order to get everything aligned or be balanced or anything like that. What we're saying is act on the things you prefer. Simple, small, little things. Show compassion towards yourself. Show compassion towards your community, and show compassion towards, where you are on Mother Earth and in this universe, your own reality that you have created. Show compassion. Be thankful for what is. Be thankful that you exist. Be thankful that that you're so powerful that you're really and we're all doing this to ourselves. We're really, like Scott said, we're really kind of crazy as human beings. We hide things from ourselves. We're very mystic and deceiving, and it's all a big game, and it's all here and fun. And we're here Scott and I are here to help everyone and ourselves remember kind of what's going on and remember this game that we're playing with ourselves. And everything is really exciting as you want it to be. So I think it's important to just be thankful, like I was saying in the beginning. Be thankful for what is, and that's a huge part of compassionate action for me. Be thankful for what is. Don't invalidate things. Don't try to change things because you think it's wrong or it doesn't belong or shouldn't be there. Just be thankful. Just be thankful for what is, and things are going to be okay. Things are definitely going to be okay.
Absolutely. Because, in a sense, I mean, to be able to just have the concept to convey compassionate action in itself, just to be able to talk about this even, is powerful in itself, empowering in itself. So and just think that the amplification by taking this powerful thought and putting it into physicalized form, by hugging somebody, by just doing simple things, I mean, that can really just amplify everybody's life or anybody's life. I mean, it doesn't. You don't have to be a certain person. You don't have to live in a certain place on the planet. You don't have to have anything other than just what you came in this world with, because we are complete kits. The ability to show compassionate action is not something you have to obtain. It's something that you innately have, that you automatically have. It's a natural ability for us to love, but it's kind of been sort of funneled out and just kind of put in the back pocket, so to speak, because, it's not right to, for guys to hug in public. It's not right for, just things like that have essentially, in my opinion, give me the power and give me the ability to do more now.
Right.
Because without that compression and condensing and that contraction, I wouldn't have this expansion we have now, or we wouldn't have this expansion we have now. So, I would like to thank, everybody and everything for coming to this point, because we're all in together now. Essentially, that's exactly what this is. Because the person that's the beggar on the street, the person that's the king in the castle, are all on the same plane of existence now. The compartmentalization of, I'm above you, you're below me, that's starting to dissolve. And the more and more you show compassionate action, and the more you get in touch with yourself, the more and more you'll see that. Because like I said, folks, you cannot see what you're not the part of. You cannot see what you're not the vibration of. So therefore, be it to see it. Don't ask to see it, and then don't act like it, because you're not going to get it, I promise. Only unless and until you actually act upon whatever situation in a compassionate way, that's the only way you're going to see compassion. Now, you may see, here and there, different ideas of anxiety of people, but because you're not who you really are, you'll just see that as, they're following their excitement, and then you'll follow them. And then you're still going to be trapped in this whole idea of not showing compassion to yourself, because that always you show compassion to yourself. It shows compassion to everything else, because everything, life comes through you. Life doesn't happen to you; it happens through you. So if you have the love, the eternal candle, the eternal flame of the love that you are burning all the time, and then you pass the light through that, all you're going to see is the light on the other side. It's not going to be this kaleidoscope of what the heck is all this colors and all this, oh my God, I'm confused. No, the confusion will be gone, folks, I'm telling you. Show compassion for yourself, show compassion for your community, and show compassion for the planet, Gaia, Pachamama, whatever you want to call it. Just show love. And that's the next step in our evolution of going from third density to fourth density to fifth density and so on and so forth. Because this new paradigm, this new time of existence right now is this idea. It's the idea that we're taking this and we're taking that. We're blending it together. We're marrying the two like they always should have been. But they were split because the human psyche thought it would expand more. But here we are 3,000 years later, back to the same idea of trying to change this back, because it didn't work back then. It gave us the proclivity to be who we are, sure, but we recognize now that it's time to transform. We've transformed. It's time to take the first step. The first, I would tell everybody listening, right now, this very moment, the very next step you take, listening to this audio, is the first step of the next step of your life. It's the first step of your new life. Forget about the old. Forget about what happened last week. Forget about what happened last year. Forget about what happened. Who cares? That is circumstance. You can't do anything with circumstance. Only thing you can do with is how you feel, how you act, your compassionate action towards it. So this very second, right now, if you show compassion, it erases and cancels out all that negativity. Because just think about, if you have a dark room, and literally just think, like furniture-wise, you have a dark room and you bring a lamp, something that has light, you bring it into the room, boom, it's not dark anymore. You might see shadows, but that's nothing solid right there. And this is what's happening, is now that we've raised our awareness and raised our mentalities, we get to perceive more of the shadows. We get to perceive more of the negativity, because that means that we're raising our higher frequency, because it's, like I said in the very beginning of the show, as above, so below. When you raise your awareness, you raise the awareness on the good and the bad and the ugly and the indifferent, everything. It's not that you just raise your awareness and you just see the good, pardon my French, but see the good shit in life. No, you see everything. And when you see everything, that gives you the power to do something about it. And this is what compassionate action is doing something about it in a very, very concrete way. So thank you to everybody who, locked arms and got us to this point.
Yes.
Definitely. Man, I can't thank you guys enough.
Definitely. And yes, so compassionate action towards all that is, like we're saying, is really the name of the game, is really why we're here, is really the way to get that preferred reality that we all desire. And of course, there are challenges. We all face our challenges. We all have things that we're learning and challenges that come up to help us grow and expand and become more of who we are. But if we can really tap into being compassionate and acting in that way more and more and more, we will definitely see more and more and more of a loving, unified reality that we all want to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I think that's actually a good segue into the next topic that that I would kind of like to discuss, and that's we'll kind of do a recap of the beginning of the show. We're approaching and encroaching on the end of the year, and starting a whole new cycle, which is amazing. I can wait, but I'm excited for it. But of course, we started with 3 people on the show. We still have the potential of having that individual back on the show, so that still may be a surprise guest in the future. So stay tuned for that. Also, we'll be branching out and broadening the umbrella, in a sense, of the show. We may have some new individuals on the show. We'll have some new guests. We'll have some different topics. We'll have some different kinds of. We'll have shows on how to, rate. We'll have a Reiki show, and at some point, certainly. I'd like to get to the channeling portion and channel on air as well. And potentially, we're going to grow the show and also have call-in callers, people to call in, ask questions, and have them be answered directly on air. And, the possibilities for 2016 for Conscious Contact Radio are immense. And I definitely want people to stay tuned.
Yes, definitely stay tuned, people. Like Scott's saying, exciting times coming up for the radio show. We're expanding in ways we didn't even think possible when we started the show, a few months back. So now we've got some time under our belt. We've got a little more experience doing this, and we are definitely showing some compassionate action and becoming more and more of who we are. And we definitely are excited to share that with everyone. And like Scott said, we're going to start taking callers with questions. We're going to have start bringing guests on and interviewing guests on how they follow their excitement and really kind of what they do out in the world. And we're also going to break off into our own little segues there and do some own energy healing and energy channeling as well, and just give everyone more experience, more excitement, more of ourselves, because that's what we've been talking about all show, right? We want to show what we're passionate about and show who we are and.
Compassionate action is how this show came about, to be honest with you.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's a great topic to discuss. It's pretty much like we're saying, it's pretty much the name of the game. It's what it's about. It's what you really want to do so that you can start to experience the preferred reality that you're looking for. And that's going to look different for everyone, of course. It doesn't, obviously, not everyone's going to start a radio show, obviously. So, just take those little steps, whatever it is that you are truly passionate about in your heart, some type of creativity, whatever it is, expression,
even
singing,
just bring your friends together.
Whatever it is.
Who knows?
Yeah, whatever it is, just do that. Act on those things. Don't let them sit in your head and just think about it. Act on those things, and then you can start to see the shift in the reality that you're looking for. That is how it's done.
Certainly. Absolutely.
So,
and
thank you, everyone.
I just
go ahead, Scott.
Yes, absolutely. And I just went over here and took a peek at the clock, just to kind of see where we're at on time. And by following this idea of our excitement and this compassionate action, boom, it's where the show's over. Just like that. And that's another key is when you do what you love and what you love to do, life goes by at a breakneck pace. Because it means you can get more, and 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 you can get more. Because all that is realizes that you are showing compassion about what you already have. So he's like, all right, well, he already has this, and he's using it up, so I'm going to give him more. Because all that is not going to give you more if you haven't used up what you already been given. So as always, I certainly would say, oh, pardon me?
I was going to say I saw a quote earlier before we did the show that was perfect for you and what you just said. Some people look at the glass half full. Some people look at it half empty. I ask them if they're going to drink it.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Like you're saying, drink what you have, and in that way, more can be given to you, more and more and more. Use what you got right in front of you.
You don't want the gold to be spilling all over your feet and all over the floor and trying to scoop it up later, after you've already dealt with what you're supposed to deal with in the first place. Right.
Definitely. Definitely.
I definitely, Ray, for me to you, I thank you for this journey that we're discovering together. This radio show is amazing. This has been an amazing year so far. This has definitely been, something I truly feel like I'm living my dreams. And it's not that I'm a millionaire, and it's not that, I buy all kinds of things and go a lot of places. That's not the issue. I know I'm living my dreams because I'm doing what I love to do at every moment of the day. It doesn't matter if I'm working. Doesn't matter if I'm at the gas station. Doesn't matter where I'm at or what I'm doing. Because my father told me a long, long, long time ago. He said, son, it never matters what you're doing. It always matters is how you're doing it. And I've held that near and dear to my heart for my entire life. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm cleaning the toilet, or if I'm helping a customer, or if what I'm doing. It just matters because do it from the eyes and from the perspective of all that is from God, Goddess. Because if you had a conversation with him right now or her, the energy, it would tell you that that's an aspect of it.
Definitely.
That same thing that you want to devalue or diminish. It's an aspect of all that is. So it has to know it. It has to be it. So just do it from the eyes and in the direction, of the way God would do it. And that and following your heart shows compassionate action. And following your heart, I always say, think with your heart. Live with your heart. Live through your heart, because it truly is your guiding light. I love you, my dear folks. It has been such a pleasure to be speaking with everybody on this radio show. My love and unconditional love to everybody. Yes, thank you, and you're welcome, Scott, and thank you so much as well for being who you are and allowing me to be more of myself and joining me on this journey that we're on of, I don't even know what to call it, but it's super exciting. And I wouldn't, I love what we're doing. I love the fact, that I don't even know what to call this. No one needs help. That's not why we're doing this. We're not helping anyone, but we are here to be the light, as Scott says, and but remind people and remember who we are and become more and more of our true selves. And that's what we're excited about, and that's why we're doing this. And it's definitely been an amazing journey thus far, and I'm so excited about what's to come, 2016. And I want to thank everyone that has listened so far and helped us co-create this experience so far. Sedona Smile, who jump-started the whole thing, and then Scott, who came along, as well as all, like I said, all the listeners who have listened to us thus far. We appreciate everyone,
and those listeners who will even listen in the future, thank you so much for being who you are and just becoming more of yourself and allowing yourself to express your compassion and your love more and more every day in your life. So thank you for everything, the co-creation, listening, and I love you all very much. And I just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And we will be so excited to see you all back again in 2016. I think the first week in January we have a show scheduled, maybe already. We'll see how that looks, but we should be around first week in 2016. So we look forward to getting some callers and actually meeting some of our listeners. So it should be some exciting times.
2016 is highly interactive, that's for sure.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Definitely. As well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody, and greetings to winter solstice. I definitely appreciate everything, and, this is only the beginning.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right.
So thank you, everyone. That's our cue. You all have an amazing evening and a great rest of the year, and we will see you soon here on Conscious Contact Radio. Bye-bye.
I love you.
Love you all.